Why would any animal species kill their own offspring or the offspring of another species? Sometimes it's to protect them from predators, and other times it is the perfect example of survival of the fittest. Birds are no different, and some species of birds have their reasons to act this way. Have you ever seen an eagle kill his sibling? What about egret siblings not getting along? If you want to see some merciless birds in action, keep watching as we count down 15 brutal moments of birds killing their own babies and other birds. Number 15. Mother bird eats up own babies. This mother dove is taking her responsibilities and feeding her baby dove. Until now, everything is normal in the nest. Suddenly, the mother hears a crow in the vicinity. Once the mother acknowledges the crow's presence, she begins to rebuild the nest. After 2 days, she stopped feeding her young and even tried to push them out of the nest. Here is a mother with no scruples. When she figures out the newborn is dead, she begins to eat it to assure her survival. This bird lands on this nest and immediately begins killing and eating the chicks in the nest. Is it related to them, or is it an invasion? My guess is as good as yours. The defenseless chicks can't do anything but endure the attack and try to survive. Thankfully, their mother arrives and confronts the intruder, which flies off immediately. The Fanatic brings you all the best content you want to see when it comes to the animal kingdom. If you want to see the latest confrontations between animals and the best animal videos, please subscribe now. We post new videos every day for your entertainment. Number 14. Stork kills babies. Storks are excellent parents. Adult birds are recognized for their parental devotion, feeding and caring for their offspring long after they have learned to fly. In times of food scarcity, black stork parents have been known to kill one of their fledglings, usually the weakest to lower brood size, and increase the survival chances of the remaining nestlings. These two storks are spending some time with their offspring in the nest. One stork decides to fly away momentarily. Once the other stork is alone with the two youngsters, for some reason it begins to attack them and eventually kills them. Upon the return of the first stork, the killer stork takes off immediately. The returning stork doesn't seem to notice the murdered babies and just stands there looking out on the estate. One of the babies is actually still barely alive and moves to the edge of the nest, so much so it falls off. The adult stork pretends he didn't even notice. Suddenly, there are more little storks in the nest. I guess they adopted a few so they could kill them. The same stork continues to kill the other babies. I guess this isn't a very friendly foster home. This mother does everything she can to raise at least the other 3 girls. Unfortunately, she does it in such a way that we humans find it unbearable to watch. One of the newborns is getting a beating and the stork is crushing its head, after which she places the baby on the edge of the nest. What mystifies me is how much suffering she makes the little guy go through. Instead of just killing in one shot, she takes breaks in between, mangling him to death so he doesn't die right away. In this nest, there are 4 young storks, but there's also much younger and smaller stork newborn. For some reason, the mother decides to remove the smaller one and place him on the edge of the nest. That's not a good sign if you ask me. Papa Stork returns from the store to see what's going on. The smaller stork looks dead. This stork daddy gets hungry, and after mistreating one of his babies, he tries to swallow it whole. I guess times are tough, and they eat whatever they can. I'm not so sure I would want to be born a baby stork after seeing all these clips. Number 13. Eagles kill their own sibling. This video reveals cannibalism in a white-tailed eagle's nest on the Norwegian island of Smala. The eaglets grew up in quite distinct ways. One grew at a typical rate, but the other eventually ceased growing. The tiny eaglet died, and the bigger sibling began eating it. This has never been captured on video before. This young eagle attacks his sibling under the supervision of the mother, which doesn't seem to mind the assault at all. I guess it's part of growing up for bald eagles. After pounding on his sibling, the young eagle turns to mom and asks if he can continue, which he does, all with the benediction of his mother. I'm not sure what's going on in this household, but something is not kosher. This eagle has kidnapped a baby swan and it's slowly prepping it for lunch at the family household. It plucks its fur and continues the preparation under the watchful eye of his partner. Number 12. Sparrowhawk attacks green finch. Green finches come to feed in the spring up until autumn, but sparrowhawks do the same, and this could spell danger for the green finches. The sparrowhawks are much bigger and will prey on the green finches, as you can see in the video. This sparrowhawk has captured a green finch and has killed it. It's now plucking the feathers and beginning to eat it. This hawk finds a young defenseless bird and doesn't hesitate to eat it right away. Another bird flies around the area trying to disturb the hawk. Perhaps it's the mother of the chick, but the hawk is immovable and fully concentrated on killing and eating the little bird. Number 11. Falcon attacks nest. Here's a falcon with no scruples. He crashes a nest and grabs one of the chicks. When the father returns to feed the remaining hysterical chicks, he feeds them but doesn't seem to notice one is missing. Or does he? In the stillness of the night, it's quiet and calm in the house until an aggressive intruder comes crashing in. The chicks are left alone while the mother is making sure the attacker is gone, after which she returns to protect her family. There's one sane and normal mother at least. There are a few chicks in this nest when suddenly 3 full-grown birds crash the nest. A fight ensues and one of the invading birds is killed. You can see the mother laying on her chicks at the back of the nest, so I guess the dead bird tried to snatch them, and Mama was there to protect them and did a great job. Number 10. Cuckoo bird. Here's a cuckoo bird that doesn't appreciate being ignored when it's time for feeding. This mother cuckoo bird feeds one of her chicks, but barely gives anything to the second one, and the young cuckoo doesn't appreciate it. Besides yelling like a cuckoo, he decides to peck his mom. Cuckoo bird moms are not recognized for being great mothers, and this cuckoo bird mom left the nest after feeding her young. She's already better than most cuckoo moms. These babies are yelling at the top of their lungs, and it attracts a predator to the nest that doesn't waste any time snatching one of the babies and dropping the other one to the ground. He swallows the chick whole and then takes off. The cuckoo mother hasn't returned, so the predator scouts the area to see if there are more chicks to eat. Number 9. Great horned owl attacks peregrine falcons. While this peregrine falcon and her family are getting ready to watch their favorite show on a cool evening, a great horned owl lands on their balcony and kidnaps one of the kids. The mother is shocked but doesn't chase the owl. She looks in all directions, appalled by the incident, and wants to make sure the assailant isn't coming back. The great horned owl hits the nest a second time, and this time the mother falcon chases it out of the nest, protecting only youngster left. This nest is attached to a hitch cliff, and an owl stands on top of the nest box. When the peregrine falcon lands and perches itself not too far away, the two birds stare at one another, but nothing ensues. When the falcon turns its head to look the other way, the owl flies through it and knocks it out into the air. Here is a great horned owl that lands right on top of a great blue heron youngster and sits on it for a few seconds, after which it begins to eat its meal. Number 8. Jackdaw attacks kestrel nest. For some reason, Mom had to absolutely find out where Dad had gone off to, so she left her chicks unattended and flew off to find him. Meanwhile, back at home, the chicks haven't brushed their teeth because the jackdaw has broken into the house and is terrorizing them. He takes a few shots at them but is careful and checks out the window to make sure Mom or Dad are not coming back. The kids are calling out for their mom, but she's not there. In this video, the jackdaw have taken over a kestrel's nest, but it won't be easy to hang on to it because the kestrels want it back. You can see the kestrel trying to enter through the window as the jackdaw resists the entry. The jackdaw looks out the window to make sure everything is okay, and that's when the kestrel flies right through it and attacks it. But the jackdaw repels the attack. The last attempt by the kestrel allows the jackdaw to pull the kestrel into the nest and deal with her personally. Number 7. Sibling rivalry. The third chick could have been the only child of one bird, while the older siblings were most likely sired by another. Since a decline in the quantity and number of fish its father was bringing in around a week ago, number 3 had been subject to horrific torment and continued to be assaulted, by number 2 in particular, without provocation or food pressure. It's been terrifying to watch. Some people at the center are bitter, but the facility's proprietors don't seem to care about number 3's condition. Not that they would have acted anyhow. Thankfully, number 3 is no longer in distress. This big brother who hatched from his egg 3 days before his sibling is trying to kill his baby brother, so the parents will only feed him when they come back with prey. The eagle must bring back the nest all of the food he can in order to save his younger child. Only this rabbit can calm his older child's fratricidal rage, but but he doesn't manage to calm him down, and the younger one won't be able to hold on much longer if his mother comes back empty-handed. As she looks on helplessly at just 2 weeks of age, one of her children is going to kill the other. She tries to distract it with bits of meat from an earlier prey, but it doesn't work. The mother can't get a moment's respite for her little one. When he dies, the brother will eat him. These two ladies may be seen fighting over the nest. The new female eventually triumphs and evicts all the chicks from the nest. Since they were near to fledging, I presume most of the chicks survived. They landed amid a tangle of bushes and dense grass nearby. For several days, their prior parents continued to feed them. This new couple reconstructed the nest and now are raising 7 chicks. This baby heron is clinging to her dear life. His brothers and sisters are trying to kill and eat him. He is much smaller than they are, and they're ganging up on him. And at the end of it all, he is all torn to pieces, even when mom comes back to take a look in the nest. Number 6. Magpies kill barn chicks. This magpie breaks into a house and kills and swallows 4 barn swallow chicks. The chicks were left unattended, and the magpie is having a field day swallowing the defenseless youngsters. Another magpie is out on the night looking for food. It lands right next to a nest where it snatches 3 long-eared owl chicks. It takes the chicks one by one and flies off with them, moving them somewhere safe to be able to eat them in peace. The magpie returns to the empty nest to make sure it doesn't forget anything, and once that's confirmed, it leaves. The mother owl returns to find her nest empty and all her babies gone. Number 5. Hawk attacks babies. A resident was first enraged that finches were attempting to build a nest in her pothos plants, plucking leaves to create the ideal space for its nest. She eventually agreed to the bird's plans for her prized plants. Mama bird laid 5 eggs before she even realized it. She had 5 hatchlings after a few weeks. It was incredible to observe mama and daddy birds collaborate to care for their young. Simply put, she became enamored. Regardless, a Cooper's hawk discovered the nest and took all 5 babies. This was a shattering experience, and the hearts of most people will break after watching this, but it is the law of the land. This scary hawk lands on a branch right next to a nest and makes a meal of the chicks in the nest. For some reason, the hawk leaves one of the babies in the nest. Is it dead or just sleeping? The mother dove returns and realizes some family members are missing, and there's nothing she can do. Number 4. Woodpecker attacks baby birds. To record and observe the bird's activity, a camera was mounted inside one of the bird boxes at a facility. Workers were fortunate enough to have their first tenant, a blue tit, move in a few weeks later. She had a clutch of more than 10 eggs. It was a magnificent sight, and 7 of them were about to hatch. But then the family was terrified. The babies were assaulted by a great spotted woodpecker that entered the box. To get inside, he pecked at the box to expand the opening. He even snatched one of the babies from their nest. They are known to prey on tiny birds on occasion, even if it is not their usual diets. Because the CCTV camera in the box was not constantly monitored, the people only saw the drama after it happened when they watched the tape in playback. They would have acted to halt the attack if they had seen it live. Another woodpecker raids a nest and snatches the babies for food. The woodpecker first gets rid of the mother, which is much smaller and can't match the strength of the woodpecker. And once the mother is out of the way, the woodpecker grabs the babies one by one to satisfy his appetite. By the time the woodpecker is done, the nest is empty. Number 3. Crow attack bulbul chicks. Crows can be a big disturbance for other birds. This crow launches an assault on this bulbul nest and snatches one of the youngsters. The mother returns and looks at her young with affection, but I'm not sure if she realizes one of her babies is missing. Oh yes, just now she checks under the remaining baby to see if she sees it, and when she doesn't, she continues to search. You can see the worried look on her face. When she finally accepts her predicament, she covers her remaining baby by sitting on it. This bulbul is raising her chicks after they hatch, but she cannot save them from this bird of prey, even though she tries her best to do so. This crow comes flying in and grabs a few newly hatched baby robins. The robins barely got to see the world, and now they're already back where they came from. Number 2. Egret siblings fight. These 2 siblings don't seem to be getting along in the nest and are constantly fighting. Their mom thinks it's normal and doesn't intervene. I guess it's part of growing up when you're an egret. A few egret chicks find a frog, and now it's time to decide which one gets the coveted prize. The egrets argue and even scuffle over the future Prince Charming, but it looks like this argument will continue into the wee hours of the night. You can see the terrible enmity that may exist between brothers in this video. Before the recording began, both fletchlings had just been fed. The parent had carefully withdrawn to a snag that was out of view. He had more fish to eat, but he needed time to bring it to the surface and regurgitate it into his greedy mouth. Why hang out with the rowdy kids when a nearby branch is quieter? When one of the siblings is bullied by the other, the first chooses to distance himself from the attacker. The parent eventually reappears, and the chicks fly up to meet it. Is it possible to discern who gets fed and who doesn't? A young pairing of snowy egrets makes a lovely sight. This picture-perfect family is graceful and elegantly dressed, but they have a filthy little secret. Nobody is ruffling any feathers because a murder is about to be committed. Snowy egrets can be found in the waterways of the United States, Central America, and South America. This caring Florida family has 3 small hatchlings, and they take turns raising them, prowling the shallow salt marsh for small fish and crustaceans and returning the catch to the nest. One thing, however, does not appear to bother them. It's what the children are up to at home. The 2 eldest chicks are becoming more powerful and aggressive, while the youngest is becoming weaker. All the girls push it out of the way and start beating up on their smaller sibling. Their mother is present, but she does nothing and turns a blind eye to the situation. 3 chicks are more than they can feed this year, according to her, so they leave it up to the youngsters to figure it out. The evidence is swiftly destroyed, and mom and dad maintain their normal routines as if nothing happened, and a family murder is swept under the rug. Number 1. Bald eagle attack. Nature may be cruel at times, and I understand how tough it is to observe this. I believe they would have had a chance to survive if the eaglets had been smaller and the hawks were nearing fledging age, as has happened in the past times. Bringing live prey to the harriers teaches them how to kill and defend themselves, something they will need if they are to survive. Many young eagles perish due to malnutrition. If given the chance, the falcons would react in the same way. You can see in this video how a mother bald eagle feeds her young and how they slowly grow to become bigger and stronger. The mother goes out and hunts and then returns with the food to feed her youngsters. They keep growing every day, and you can see the progress in this video. These eaglets are infested with gnats, and despite this mom's valiant efforts to pick them out one by one, the babies succumb to the vast numbers. The rainstorm may have helped, but it came too late. This young bald eagles bully his brother in the family nest. Mom is there, but she doesn't really bother with juvenile behavior. I guess it's survival of the fittest in the nest. Some birds can be terribly cruel, and we had many examples in this countdown. My favorite has to be the kestrel fighting off the jackdaw. Which one was your favorite? Why don't you let us know in the comments below? Well, that's it for our countdown of 15 brutal moments of birds killing their own babies and other birds. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and let us know in the comments what you think. Check out our other videos and subscribe to be part of the fun. Click on the notification icon so you can see our new videos as soon as they're uploaded. That's it for now.